It's cybersecurity in this technical article explainer. And as always, we're going to do 4 things around this technical article. We're going to summarize it. We're going to tell you how this cybersecurity stuff has been tested in the past. We're going to give you some actions, things you need to do to get ready for the exam. And we're going to finish off with an overall review and rating of the article. And stay tuned till the end, right? Because there is a surprising fact coming about this one. Something that's going to knock you off your seat. So Andrew, over to you for the summary of the article.
Yes, thanks, Ben. So this is a good article. We like this one, don't we? Now, it starts off by just talking about cybersecurity and why it's so important. And there's a great stat at the top. 72% of FTSE 350 companies identified cyber threats as high risk. So you think, oh, 72%, that's good. Let me flip that around. 98 out of the FTSE 350 companies didn't think that cybersecurity was important. Wow. I'd like to know who those 98 companies are, and I would not like to invest in them. So this, as we'll see, these are probably slightly out of date. I'd imagine now that would have gone up to 100.
Yeah, that was 2019. That article.
That was 2019. It feels like, yeah, that was 2019. So this is going to be much higher now. And then it just says about how big companies are massive targets, and it talks about the cost, the implications of cyber attacks. Huge, absolutely huge. Now, the first sort of main section then says, why does cybersecurity need special attention? And there are sort of 4 main reasons why companies are having to pay so much attention. The value of data. So people's data has become so useful. And The Economist, this magazine that I'm not sure if any of you have ever read.
My favorite.
Ben is a living, breathing advert for The Economist. It says that they say that it's data is more valuable now than oil. And again, that was back in 2017. So think about it even now. The second point they're making there is about people being a bit blasé, a bit like careless with data and giving it away, like on social media lots. The third thing they talk about, reasons why cybersecurity is so important, is cloud computing, essentially. Everyone's putting stuff online now. They're storing it on Google Drive or Dropbox or wherever it is. And again, that gives a real opportunity to cyber attack. And also the inevitability of bugs. There's so much complicated software out there now. It's very easy for bugs to creep in. So all of those things have increased the amount of cyber threat to companies and individuals. So the second section then is about how to promote cybersecurity and essentially how to fix it. So I've summarized these into a few categories. Firstly, sort of board level, like risk management strategy, very, very important. The second thing is about security. Now, that's true for both software. So we've got to make sure there's malware protection and network protection, but also hardware. It talks about having like USB sticks. Do you remember those, Ben? Like those things.
I mean, back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Having like controls over those and making sure like people's laptops are up to speed. It then talks about access and user privilege. Now, Ben and I both work with ACCA a lot, and to get into ACCA systems to upload our work and to download things from them, I mean, it's a good 10-minute exercise, isn't it, Ben?
I mean, it's really tight. I mean, on the one hand, you go, ACCA are super secure because they make it difficult for us as their expert tutors to upload the content we've created for them for SBL. We do it each exam sitting. They make it hard, but it's secure. But I tried to do it from overseas last exam sitting. I was in a different country, and it blocked me entirely. I couldn't upload all this stuff for ACCA. And that's good in that it's secure, bad, and it's quite annoying from a kind of business and like how you're running your company perspective.
So there's also a lot of stuff around people working from home and how they access things. So using like VPNs and stuff like that. So go look out for that. But there's also then a category of like staff. And so training staff is a good way to reduce cyber incidents, like an incident response process, and also monitoring them and keeping an eye on things, and even like testing your stuff, putting out like fake phishing emails and see if people bite. And they used to do that at Kaplan where I used to work. They used to do that occasionally. They'd send out an email and see which staff members like fell for it, and then you get bombarded with training. So if you ever fell for that one, you did not.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
You need to go on this course.
Luckily, I never fell for it, which is good.
Wow.
Then the third broad category is around how the finance department and specifically the CFO can help. They talk about like improving network access, so like two-step authentication, which is really common. Recovery plans if things do go wrong. Auditing the supply chain. It's very well and good focusing on your own company, but you've got to think about how it all integrates with your suppliers and presumably customers as well. And then also, if it does all go wrong, insurance, and the CFO needs to consider that. So there we go. That is my summary. There's a lot going on, but it's a really good one. There's a really good one.
Loads in here, but loads of it is really interesting.
It is.
I find often when I read these articles, I have to do it 2 or 3 times to actually pay attention to the whole thing because I find them sometimes a bit dry. This one single sitting, even with my ADHD brain, I was able to focus all the way through this one and read it all. It was interesting. On to the how it's been tested in the past. A lot is the answer. In March, June 25, there was a big question. It was all around data security risks. In December 23, you had to evaluate security controls. This was a thrilling task. You were given an IT security manual, an actual manual with all of these IT controls in it, and you had to critically evaluate the controls. And it was also tested specifically in March 2020, risk analysis around cyber. Now, I've just picked 3 examples there of where there was a big question, but in most exams, there's at least something to do with cyber or data security risks. It's such an easy extra little thing to drop into a question. So this gets tested loads. And how you succeed in one of these questions around data security or cyber, what students do badly, and this is what the examiner always says in the examiner's report, the students who do badly just repeat the scenario. We tell them all of the bad controls in the scenario, and the student just repeats back all the facts to us, which we already told them, and they score no marks for it, obviously. The better students, the ones who pass, are those who analyse the facts, tell us what they really mean, build linkages between them, they assess them, they add value. This one's significant for this reason. So don't just repeat what you're told in the scenario, obviously. You have to show you understand it by analysing and assessing it and using it to answer the question. So that's how it's tested, a lot and heavily. Andrew, over to you for the actions.
So actions for you off the back of this cybersecurity article. The first thing is you can live and breathe cybersecurity. So keep an eye on the business news. There are cyber attacks happening all over the world every single day. So they're happening all the time. And yes, see the impact on these companies. I've got a friend who works at Marks and Spencer's in the UK, and they had a cyber attack not too long ago that literally was causing him sleepless nights. You saw him and he was just like, this has just been, you couldn't buy anything online for weeks. It was really causing them issues. So have a look at the actual impact of these cyber attacks, because that will really help you understand that and how companies deal with it. Equally, have a look at your company's cyber policies. See how they are protecting your company and you against these cyber attacks. So again, just getting into that will really help you then in the exam if it comes up. You've got some ideas, which is always nice. And then when your pre-scene is released 2 weeks before your actual exam, think about how cyber could affect your company. Now, as Ben said, in this day and age, every pre-scene we're seeing has got some sort of data in it. There's some sort of cyber issue. So think, what are the potential threats to the company and how could they protect against those threats as well? What do they need to do to protect those things? Now, one option potentially that we see in the real world loads, by the way, is outsourcing this stuff. Now, it doesn't mention this in the article. It's sort of saying, we need to do all these things. But there are specialist companies who you can pay to do all this stuff for you. And they'll do it probably a lot better than you will. And given how much is at stake now, outsourcing could be a really good option for your company.
Yeah, I mean, so we obviously run our own business, Andrew, don't we? And I increasingly store everything somewhere else. I don't trust my own computer controls. I'm much more trusting of Amazon Web Services or Google Drive, or we use Riverside and Vimeo and other storage platforms for different things. But they're big organizations where they've got tons of data. They're investing in security controls much more effectively than whatever's on my little laptop here or my own local server. Okay, on to the rating. And here's the surprising fact for you. So we're going to give this one 10 out of 10. 10!
10?
Maximum marks.
Wow.
We love
this
it.
Is a big day. This is brilliant, isn't it? It's a really
This is the perfect article. Right? It's interesting. It's short. It's full of good facts that you can kind of get your teeth into a bit. Lovely examples. And it's super, super exam relevant. So it does everything. It ticks every box heavily. And when something's great, I think, of course, you've got to name it. 10 out of 10.
Isn't it great? Did you write this, Ben, by the
way? No comment.
The only slight downside is a little bit out of date, isn't it? The most recent reference to anything in this one is 2019. And given how quickly cyber moves on, and I mean, that was pre-AI. So you think all the AI stuff that is causing cyber attacks and also being used to protect against it. like things have changed. So that's the only slight downside, but I still agree. 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed this one.
Awesome. Well, I hope you found this one useful and you're feeling a bit more informed about cybersecurity. Follow us if you're on YouTube, if you want loads more of these videos on technical articles, and if you want the full Ben and Andrew support for your attempt at SBL, we'd love to welcome you onto our Club SBL courses. So go and check out our website.